Okay, welcome to the warehouse. I want to do this series a little bit different here and kind of give you a cue on all the products. I always get yelled at from day one of making videos on the YouTube channel when it was just the Matt Mormon YouTube channel. I didn't name it. Was people would always yell at me for what product, send me links. And so that's why Obsessed Garage exists, is because I didn't want to put links in the videos and timestamps. So I was too lazy to do that, but yet we built this giant company now. So anyway, you're into the working warehouse. Everybody's standing here looking at me. I wanted to show you all the products we're going to use in this video and show you kind of how it comes to you, so you get a better sense for what is involved in if you wanted to replicate the process that I'm about to show you in this series. And so we'll start with the pressure washer and the bucket package, and we'll get into the decontamination stuff here, and then we'll get into the doing of the doing here for this series. So I'm going to do a little differently than normal. So the pressure washer that you saw, or you're about to see, is not very impressive when you look at it in a box. We try to put it and condense it as much as possible so we can get it out to you in the mail or in UPS. We ship these all over the world. The one thing you're missing here is the pressure washer and the deionizer. We drop ship those. But you have the gun and wand, our separate fittings, which will always be always taped and torqued. We have a 100-foot Cobra Jet hose with our jumper. This is actually, believe it or not, this is the piping package. I figured out somehow how to create a universal piping system. Now remember, this is still a custom installed package that you have to do the work. You need a plumber, you need some skills, you need to be able to use a drill and make sure your wall can handle the weight. The stainless shell that the Krensler K1322 sits on, the Cox hose reel, which is just really awesome now because you can get in black, silver, blue, and then an OG spec, a better stainless. Now we have a stainless swivel. We should have those available to those of you who already bought this system to swap out at some point in the next few weeks here. And then the foam cannon. For instance, the foam cannon, we get in trouble with this for some weirdos. Sometimes they yell at us because we throw away the junk that comes in the box so it doesn't confuse people. We put a stainless plug in, tape it, and torque it so that it's prepped and ready to go for your package. Again, the Krensler's, at least for now, until I get in my new warehouse, the Krensler's drop ship from Krensler USA because we don't have enough room to put them here. But eventually we'll probably be stocking and shipping those direct here out of OG so that I can control distribution from start to finish. But this is what you saw in the video. The other thing you saw was the bucket package. Kind of give you an idea. It comes in a box like this. So when you go in there and you see that it costs $35 to ship it, you know why. Think about this logically. You've got this giant box that has to go. We ship these things to Australia sometimes. It costs hundreds of dollars. But think about this as a giant box. This is the package that I get in so much trouble, or had gotten in so much trouble for. I think we probably reached somewhere around 1,000 different iterations of this kit. But we put the vinyl on. This is the same kind of vinyl you would wrap your car in, so much higher quality. 6-gallon buckets. Grit guards. I don't like the washboards, so we don't do that. We put the gamma seals on them so that you could, put the lid on if you wanted to. You saw me drill out the base of these. They don't come pre-drilled. Maybe someday I'd like to do that. 3-inch casters instead of 2-inch, and so this package costs a little less than $300. So when you go to the store and you freak out about how much it costs, saying I can get buckets at Home Depot, well. You can, but I'm telling you freaking can't get these. This setup is pretty sweet. So this setup here, you didn't see me. I didn't use the wheel bucket in the video, but the reason why it's 3 buckets would be rinse, wash, and then wheel. And really the wheel buckets just kind of store the wheel tools. I didn't do that in this series or in this video because we didn't clean the wheels. We cleaned them off the car. The other thing that you saw me use was the bucket filler. This sucker's awesome. So this is a T316, which we don't need. T316 is salt water rated. T316 ultra flexible. They don't make it in a 304 stainless. With the proper fittings, I just kind of threw this together, but we tape and torque this, send it out with this goofy ultimate hose nozzle, which is actually pretty awesome for what it costs. It's like, what, 25, 35 bucks, something like that. So this is the bucket filler you saw in the video, which costs several $100s, but I think it's freaking awesome, and we sell lots of them. And then this is the prior P114 hose bib, which is about 250 bucks. You know, all this stuff we stock, we ship, we have it available in the store. The reason why I've done this, I mean, you could probably find this hose somewhere, but you know, it's kind of hard to figure all this stuff out. It's kind of hard to source it. And so the whole concept of me doing these, the videos I've been doing as a way, as an outlet for me, and then me providing these solutions to people has been a result of what you've asked for. And so my idea, rather than putting timestamps to 20 different stores to buy this really obscure stuff, was to source it myself and provide you one-click solutions. You can click one button and you can buy a $3,000 pressure washing package with everything you need. I can't tell you how many more thousands of dollars I've spent, as well as an insane amount of time fumbling through to get my pressure washer system to work the way it works. It seems so simple now because I've shown you how to do it, but even then, even if you tried to replicate this, tried to buy this, I mean, you can't get this gun. I've gone and developed it to make it better. So that's the concept here. So then Decon stuff, I actually have a package. The package is very rarely in stock. It's hard to keep all these things available. Some days we have it, some days we don't. I think we have it in stock now at the time of this video. If we sell out of one thing, then the package is out of stock. But if you go and look at the package, you can see that, you know, each individual component you could buy separately if for some reason we were missing a sponge or something like that. So the first thing we used was Decon soap. Obviously we filled the bucket and we used one of these pads here, clean. So I used a Microfiber Madness Incredipad XL. So we had the Incredipad XL. We used the foam cannon, putting 150 milliliters in the foam cannon, and sorry, I'm talking past tense here. It's going to be future tense for you. For me, the project is already done. But yeah, I think you want a gallon of this, and so having a 32-ounce bottle to distribute it, to put it into your foam cannon makes sense. We sell it with a little pop top, so you can squirt it in there. Where this soap comes from, this actually was this came from an old chemical guy's product that they discontinued called Citrus Red or Citrus Wash. Very different than the current soaps that they have now. I changed to purple and then took the name citrus out of it. This is a basic soap, not an acidic soap, so calling it citrus doesn't make any sense. So frickin' foam's awesome and has amazing lubrication. I almost want to use this all the time, but it will strip, you know, some sealants and waxes to kind of prep your surface for doing polishing. Then after that, we did iron removal. So I used Optimum Ferrex, Carpro Iron X, Geon, whatever they call it, Geon Iron. There's 100 of these products out there. I think they're all pretty much the same. You saw us spray it on, or you will see me spray it on. This will attack the iron. It turns purple and remove it chemically from the surface of the paint. After that, we used Nanoskin Glide in a press-all bottle. The press-all bottles will be here soon. Our version 3 iteration should be, I believe it's shipped from Europe, but it's heading our direction. We should have those back in stock here on our third version of developing that product. And then you saw me use the big Nanoskin the sponge, a foam pad, and this is actually the hand, whatever you call that, the hand pad, the Velcro hand pad, so that you can hold on to this thing. You can put this on a machine, but I don't. And then the sponge, these are both fine grade. I don't find any reason to get the more aggressive version of that product. it does well enough. It's good to have a clay bar around in case you needed it for some overspray or something more aggressive. We didn't use that in the project, but it does come in the Decon package. The other thing we didn't need, which is rare, usually new cars we need this, but CarPro Tar-X is another product that I didn't use in this upcoming video, but something that I almost always have a need for with a new car when you have sticky stuff laying around. The other thing you'll see is we cleaned off the tires. I didn't clean the wheels, so we don't have a wheel package here. I usually don't do that. I usually clean the wheels off the car because we're going to take them off and coat them. But I used, you saw Kyle use, or you'll see Kyle use a brake buster and a Tough Shine brush. The first thing we did before we deconned was to do the engine bay, and we used D101. This is actually undiluted. This is how we ship it. So you'd want to possibly buy an extra bottle. Sprayers are really hard to get right now in the world, so we don't have sprayers to provide you. You have to use an old sprayer. But I dilute this. I think we dilute it 4-to-1. Is the dilution ratio that we used in the engine bay. And then this is the pre-diluted version. I would suggest that you buy it pre-diluted from us. We dilute this with deionized water here at HQ. We dilute it right over there outside that door. But this is the dressing that we're going to spray on and let sit to dress the engine bay. So this is the stuff we're going to use in this video. Bucket package, pressure washing system. I use an Ego 580 blower to dry off the car. I'm going to use the Incredipad, the foam cannon, all the Decon stuff, the engine bay. So let's get into the project here. Let's dig into actually decontaminating the car, prepping it for polish. After that, we'll get into all the polishing products. All right, good morning. As you saw on Instagram, I posted we have a detailing project on a GT500. No, the car is not mine. Yes, this will be the first car I've done since, I guess I did my dad's car, but I did my friend Tim's F80M 3 years ago. I don't do other people's cars. So Billy's going to come up here from Presidential and help me do this, Billy and Gabe. But we need to decon it here this morning before the sun comes up, so we're going to slum it a little bit. Normally I do it at my house in the wash bay with the covering and the boom pole, but I want to show you kind of how the setup here is the setup is here at HQ. We're going to do the decon. First I'm going to do engine bay, then decon, then we're going to pull it in, we're going to polish. The car's going to leave here, leave the Obsessed Garage channel, go to the Presidential Automotive Detailing channel, and then we're going to finish the project. This car's getting full XPEL PPF. It's getting probably G-Technic Halo, maybe Crystal Clear Monster. You have to go to Billy's channel to watch that. Carbon fiber wheels are going to come off. We're going to talk all about the car and kind of dig into this project. But let's get set up. I need to get moving because the sun's going to come out here. I need to beat the sunlight like the rest of you have to do if you don't have a covered area. And so let's do this as quickly as possible. It's about 7:45 in the morning, so let's get this done. I should have gotten up earlier, but we're going to work with what we got. We're going to move quickly. All right, so my setup here, a couple of things I need to do. I need to drill holes in our bucket package so that I don't have water sitting in here. And so this is a little modification that I didn't, oh shoot, I didn't expect it to go through that quickly. So I just like to drill a few holes. They're just good old-fashioned half-inch holes. This we'll clean up afterwards. So this keeps us from having water sitting. And I'm moving quick here today, so we'll spray that out afterward. So now, let's have the door open. I'll do this the traditional way, which is to fill up the rinse first, and then come back and fill up the other bucket. So I've got 150 milliliters of Decon soap. Sescarada Decon soap in the foam cannon. We'll prep our Credamit or Credapad XL. Looks like I gotta go fill up my bottle, a gallon. I don't have a quick disconnect here. I told you I'm slumming it here today. You'd think at HQ I'd have all the latest and greatest, but we tend to sell out of stuff quickly. So I tend to take a back seat to people that buy stuff. You'll see the same thing with Press-All bottles. I don't have a whole arsenal of bottles. I'm going to be using a hodgepodge of stuff. That's motivated me to get this place set up and dialed in with all the equipment. At least I have a stainless screw on this one, which I don't have at home. And at least we have a PF 22.2. All right. So now the pressure washer system here. Of course, if you didn't watch that video, Mike came from California. Got us all set up. The water here is really bad. And I noticed this because I got water spots on the M3 again while I was doing the polishing step. And so I had to do another quick little polishing. But we're gonna go DI water on. And so this setup here is about $3 grand, where we have the previous piping, all the various components, Cobra Jet hoses, the Cox hose reel, the mount that we have made for us in the shelf, Krenza K1322. So this setup isn't nearly as stout as the one at my house, but it's freaking awesome, as you can see. And then we just chose to put, this is the new Prior P114, which is the single cold water, super, super stout. Look at this thing. And then my bucket filler solution with the, I guess the goofy, as seen on TV, ultimate hose nozzle, which I'm really pumped about. I think works great. So anyway, we're all set up and ready to go out and rinse. And we gotta turn the pressure on. So notice as it builds pressure, it turns off, ready to go. We have the obsessed garage storage plug. So let's go rinse, foam, and then we'll bring out the bucket. So this car has painted stripes. This is basically a full optioned GT500. Crap, the color of this is called, I looked it up last night. It's not mercury, it's called something silver. Orion silver, some crap like that. I'll look it up. But it has the painted stripe option, which will be interesting to deal with the black. We'll see, I'm assuming it's soft paint. Carbon fiber wheels. We're gonna remove the wheels, coat the calipers, coat the wheels, dress the tires, deal with the glass, PPF the whole car, do the interior. I'm gonna do the engine bay here in a second. We'll talk about that. There's a really interesting kind of paint, heat-resistant paint they put on the front wheels, which is kind of goofy, but certainly very functional. The biggest darn calipers I've ever seen in my life. So this is one of those cars that's going to get me in trouble. And then my buddy Keith called me and he said what everybody calls me and says, which is, hey, I've got a great idea for you. I'm like, let me guess. You want me to polish your car and I get to do it on video. I get that probably twice a week from somebody. The newest thing is, hey, I've got a great idea. I got this 1988 Pontiac Sunfire. I think you should do a giveaway with it. And then give me half the money. Like, yeah, I'm gonna do all the work and you get half the money. That sounds like a great idea. I should be doing the engine bay first. I don't know what I'm doing here. I already got sidetracked. All right, we're not going to clean the wheels here, but I do want to dress the tire, or clean the tires off to make it a little easier. You got the little fancy little hood pin thingers. I think I got it. And then you've got the other hood thing, and it has a kind of a weird little kickstand here. And yes, you can clean the engine bay like we're about to. So this is a brand new car, has 100 miles on it. He couldn't resist. He drove it down the road a couple of times. I think mainly from the dealership, but I told him when he called me, I said, stop driving it right now. We need to get PPF on this thing first, if that's what you want to do. So you can see here, think about this logically, people. Intake, it's not sealed, but it's sealed-ish, right? So I'm not spraying the intake filter. All the electronics, all the stuff, especially on a modern car, is all weather sealed because water can come up from underneath, you know, and so it's not sealed underneath the engine. So it's not a big deal to get the car or the engine bay wet like what we're doing here. All right, so what I'm gonna spray on here is some all-purpose cleaner. Again, not super dirty. This is more about just kind of getting it superficially clean. Yeah, race glaze. I don't have, you should probably get yourself a dedicated engine bay brush. I don't like to have a lot of fluff. Like I don't like having a lot of extra stuff laying around. And so I just repurpose, I use my wheel cleaning brushes, which aren't ideal for engine bay cleaning. But almost all of my engine bays are like this. And my bottle's empty. I don't really think I need to agitate anything at all. There really isn't anything super dirty. It was just kind of dusty. So I really don't need to do much other than just spray it out. But you could use a bunch of various brushes in your engine bay if you needed to. Yeah, I think that's about all I need. Everything else is relatively cleanish. Just wanted to, I mainly wanted to dress it. All right, we'll rinse it off. So again, APC is not a it's not a spray on, rinse off product. You do need to agitate it, but and there really wasn't much to do here. You look up the color on this thing, it's driving me freaking crazy. Iconic silver, right? Metallic. Yeah. Iconic silver metallic with a black painted stripe. This car has a sticker of 105.9, so 106. And he had to pay $9,000 over to get it. It's kind of weird to be washing a $115,000 Mustang with a fancy 5.2 liter Coyote in it. These don't have a flat plane crank, they have a cross plane. All right, so now we're gonna take hyper dressing. And the reason why I like to do this now is because I don't wanna get a bunch of gunk all over my corrected exterior. I don't wanna get, you know, all-purpose cleaner on my coating or wax. I don't wanna get, you know, hyper dressing all over the stuff on the exterior of the car. So it makes sense to me to do this part now. Again, new car, just has some kind of shipping dust and a little bit of dirt in the cracks from probably sitting on the sitting on a truck, an open truck. You know, it is a Ford still. So all I'm doing here is just hitting with some hyper dressing, which will make it look nice and clean. And yes, you can leave this. The whole reason why I do this and don't do pearl or my tire dressing or something like that in here is because this works so great in that all I have to do is just spray it on and walk away. And I might have to level a few spots. Gosh, the new press alls are so good. This is version 3. So that's it. So we'll just let this sit. Like some of these areas we may need to wipe flat, you know, a day or so later. You obviously don't want to drive around like this. You don't want to let the engine bay heat up. You want to do it nice and cool. But that's the extent of what we need to do to the engine bay. All right, so let's rinse off this little surrounding area, and then we will foam the car. See what I'm saying? We get all-purpose cleaner and stuff around the edge, around the windshield. I just want to make sure I don't do that. I don't like to do that when my car is all clean. So that's why it makes sense to me to do the engine bay. If you've bought a package from me in the past, do yourself a favor, spend a couple $100, swap out all your fittings to the Mosmatic stainless stuff, or just get the whole new thing if I were you. Sell the old one, get the new one. Freaking awesome. Again, I'm not worried about cleaning the wheels because I'm going to take them off. And yes, this is a new car, but it definitely needs a correction. We found some sanding marks and some other issues. So this thing still needs to get done. Still needs corrected prior to PPF. If you want to do it right. You know, PPF is going to mask most imperfections, but this is a $115,000 Mustang, so we're going to do it right. So again, the plan here is that I don't have the ability to do PPF, and I don't really want to leave the comfort of my own home, so I convinced Billy to come up here. Help me correct it, so that mainly so that, I mean, I could certainly capable of correcting it myself, but mainly so that he can make sure, you know, it's going to come out of his shop, so I want to make sure it's up to his standard, you know, and I wouldn't feel comfortable if I was him just letting somebody else do the correction part. And so that's why we kind of came to a conclusion the best way to do these projects is to have them come up. We'll do it here together. I didn't really put enough soap in here. It's not foaming the way I like, but it's good enough. All right, let's get our wash bucket set up. Again, the part I love about the Decon soap, I mean, this isn't like super caustic. It isn't gonna strip like, you know, it's not like we're putting paint thinner on the darn car. Just want something that's lubricates quite a bit. I want something that doesn't destroy my hands, but does a decent job at removing waxes, sealants, grime and stuff on the surface prior to me. You know, this 3-step process is gonna take care of most of the work. Because we're gonna wash it with the Decon soap, and then we're gonna iron remove it. It'll be interesting to see if this, you know, car has any iron from rail cars or the truck that came on. And then we're gonna auto scrub it which would remove any of the surface contaminants that are left over after this process. Not a lot of junk usually on a new car, but it's certainly something that still needs to be done. And then the beauty of doing this process is now I'm going to have a car that is much easier to take care of from here on out. So we have a mitt and a pad. I hate mitts. We'll let Kyle use the mitt. So to me, I mean, there's no reason to go and start installing all kinds of scratches here. So why not wash the car like we normally would? Yes, we're going to polish it. Yes, we're going to mar the surface when we do the auto scrub. But we're going to lubricate through the whole process. And that we're going to use Nanoskin Glide. We're using a soap here. We're going to revisit the bucket using the 2-bucket method. God dang, this hood is giant. I'm going to polish the hood and let Billy and Gabe do the rest. Although I don't want to do the louver, so we'll let them do that too. So the plan here for Keith is to buy this and keep it for a really long time. But he wants to be able to drive it, and so my suggestion to him was that he really do this process. And if I'm going to do it, we're only doing it one way. There's no like optional packages here. There's one way to do it. That's the part of the detailing model that I would never do. Is that if I was going to be detailing cars, you get one option, what I say. And I know that makes detailers really angry. So you can't do that. I said, well, why not? You absolutely could do that. Just like you get the what makes sense package. It's called I'm doing everything or I'm not doing it. In my case, I'm just not doing it. Although I'm eating my words right now and then I'm doing it in somebody else's freaking car right now, which goes against everything I stand for. The reason why I don't do other people's cars is I don't need $1,000 and although this is going to cost 10 grand to do this car, I don't want to hate it. You know, those of you guys that do this for a living, gosh, I have a lot of respect for you because this is freaking hard work. And I don't have a passion. I love detailing. I have a passion for the products. I like the result that we're going to get after this is all done. But I don't have a passion for sitting there and polishing all day. I think you'd have to have that in order to stay sane and do cars like this every day. And that's why I like this whole idea of partnering up with Billy. He can charge the customer. And occasionally, hopefully it's my cars, I get new cars that I get to polish on and enjoy the process. And the part I don't want to do, send it on down the road. So we trailered this car here. It was trailered up. We'll be trailered down to Billy's shop, which is about an hour and a half from here. We'll trailer it down there so we don't get mainly rock chips. You know, we don't want to end up with rock chips prior to PPF. If you have a bunch of rock chips and you do put paint protection film on, then you end up with a bubble, an air bubble. And yeah, there's some things you could do. You could try to do some really sophisticated touch-ups, but you really want to put PPF on right now before you have any imperfections. Otherwise, it just doesn't do as well. I want to pop the trunk here and get the funk out of the jams. The only thing that stinks is that I guess I'm not going to be driving this thing. Should have been a requisite in that he's going to have to come. Keith is going to have to bring this back up here so I can go drive it afterwards. Remember, I didn't know that the trunk pop was down here. And people were losing their crap, saying I didn't know anything. was sitting there complaining on it, I think, and I was saying, how come there's no way to open the trunk? This is a modern car. And someone's like, hey, dum-dum, the trunk pop is right here. Just wanted to get that funk out of this. We can wipe the rest with eraser afterwards. So you can see the Decon wash is no different than the regular wash. No reason to scratch up everything up. And then all that will rinse out when most of it will rinse out when we're doing the rinsing. So I'm going to do a real basic rinse. Not super worried about the rinsing part because we're going to spray some Decon or some iron remover on it. See if there's any iron in on this thing embedded. So even though I'm slumming it out here in the regular parking lot, still got some good stuff. I'm sure someone will yell at me about that. What about the people that have to wash in their driveway? Why are you such a jerk? You wouldn't know what it's like. What was some guy telling me? He says, I bet you that this guy doesn't know what it's like to put in 12 hours of work. I said, bro, you don't know who I am. They were talking about the Milwaukee Tools. I certainly don't do that anymore, but how do you think this all happened? And here I am now washing somebody else's car. Yippee. So notice the water just parked on the surface. You know, I would really like this car more. I don't know why I don't like it all that much. Is that the GT350 and the GT500, when we put the car up on the lift, I'll show you, but like all of the suspension components, if they would just, they could lighten this thing up really easily. But it's all, you know, cast iron instead of, you know, putting some aluminum components, and that's the real difference between this and an M3. The interior really doesn't bother me. You know, the interior in a Corvette to me is trying to be fancy. It's like a fake fancy. Where this doesn't even attempt it. They just put a good seat in it, although the seat's made for tiny people. It's made for Kyle and Jeff. Yeah, he thinks it's freaking awesome. So although I don't like it, I don't mind it. Ooh, we got a lot of nibs to get off. A lot of denibbing to do. All right, so our next step here is to iron remove. Looks like we're gonna beat the sun, hopefully. It doesn't matter because we're using deionized water. And so since this is a new car, I'm just gonna spray it on and call it a day. I'm not too worried about rubbing it in. Uh-oh. That's not good. It ate through the tip. We'll keep fighting the good fight with the old press-salt bottles to get them right. Those IK bottles look promising, but the sprayers look like junk. I haven't seen one, so I'm talking out of school here, but we'll hit the wheels too while we're at least the surface of them. So iron removal. Everybody always wants to skip steps. Kyle's over here telling me to skip steps. He's like, you should clay when you're iron removing. I told him to get out of here. We're not doing that. I want proper lubrication, and I don't want to deal with smelling this crap and getting it all over my hands. So, you know, somebody made a post that I had to delete on the Darn Assess Garage group asking about saying, hey, man, somebody should make a snow foam soap with iron remover. I'm like, they all have that. It just doesn't work as well. You never want to, this is a quote from Corey from Sky's the Limit, Car Pro USA, saying, you know, you could do Car Pro tricks or do some of the tricks as a version that has both iron removal and tar removal. By the way, we're going to take the wing off. And so stick with using the chemical that's for what it's designed instead of trying to hybridize it. That's what I like to do. But what do I know? I'm just a fake detailer. Fake detailer moonlighting here. Nobody would want me to do their car. I'm just making it up. No one would ever let me detail their car, right, Kyle? No one wants me to do it. Ooh, we got some iron. Fun. So the concept here is that an iron particle could dislodge, so a little microscopic piece of metal could dislodge while I'm auto scrubbing and then start marring the crap out of the surface. Likely, it's too small and caught into the sort of the jaggedness at a microscopic level of the clear coat, and so more likely is that the auto scrub isn't going to get it off, and it could cause, if you have a lot of it, could cause dullness in the paint in your glasses and look as clear and all that stuff. So there is, a little bit of iron, some spots. You can see it because it turns purple. Usually, down here behind the gas cap. You don't want to let this stuff dry, so you just get it on and then let it sit for 4 or 5 minutes. You could, put some, like Billy does, put some rubber gloves on and kind of agitates it, or you could take like a damp microfiber and just kind of go around the car. But again, on a new car like this, there's a little bit of superficial iron, but it's still there, brand new right out of the box. So to me, again, this is the perfect time to do all this stuff. All right, so we're gonna rinse it off and then we're gonna auto scrub it. It's gonna be fun coating these wheels. I wonder if I'll be able to coat the barrel. It's a real kind of harsh feeling chemical, or paint, you should say. It's real gritty. Jeff, our Mustang aficionado, said that they do that because of the heat from the brakes. So now, we got a couple of spray bottles. Yes, you could do this in the washing part. Yes, you could do this in the iron removal part, but I like to do it now, which is during its own dedicated step. Keep your soap bucket left over. Now this is a brand new pad and strap, and so I want to make sure that I break it in. It's always good to have it, do the glass first. You can't use too much. This is Nanoskin Glide diluted roughly 7:1. Again, I don't need pressure, just a little bit of speed, a little bit of back and forth movement. Remind me before we finish this to spray out the windshield wiper squirter fluid mess. I almost forgot. So this is the fine version. I don't find any need to do anything more coarse. Any car I'm doing is going to be like this. New cars, see, in my world, a new car is worse than any old car I'm going to deal with, because the old car was prepped from new. So, generally speaking, this is about as bad as I'm going to deal with. You aren't going to see me doing a rags to riches. Found this car, hasn't been detailed in 85 years. I'm not freaking doing that. Why the heck would anyone want to do that? Just throw that car away and get a new one. It's the same thing of the dream that I'm going to get this car from the junkyard and turn it into, I'm going to get it for $22 and turn it into something perfect. I've seen those $22 perfect cars. They ain't perfect in my world. They're more like Jank City. Every car looks good on camera. Speaking of which, I gotta call Freddie. He's been calling me, asking me to. He always has some cockamamie scheme, just like I do. So I gotta call him. I forgot to message him back. So this doesn't require polishing. Like, you're not gonna break anything if you don't polish, but you know, we are using some lubrication here, and we're, you know, attempting to not mar the surface, but you know, you want to polish, especially these black stripes. We want to polish here. So if these were vinyl stripes, I literally would not be doing this car. Because they're painted, we'll let Billy polish them. And this black disaster in the back is no fun. So let's see, who else can I insult right now? I'm on a roll. Yeah, so if you start to get all bent out of shape about when I say something like, look, I'm not using a gosh darn Android hunk of crap phone, don't take it personally. Just say, he doesn't know what he's talking about. Although Android is junk, but I'm sure you're gonna hear some snide Mustang comments on here while I'm going through this project. One thing I hate though is the stupid crowds comment. Get your own thing. Like, make up your own funny jokes. Don't steal other internet lore jokes. Get your own joke. Like, oh, you gonna run into crowds with that? Gosh, I remember doing this process back in the day, and it would take me hours to clay because I didn't know what the heck I was doing. Just claying. To me, claying was polishing. It would take me like half a day somehow. I don't know how I even made that happen. I would sit there and buff on every spot, not realizing that in about 2 swipes it cleans it up. So we're almost done with the decon process here. Good news is we beat the sun in our slumming it Monday. Can't believe you're saying that. Not everybody has a dedicated wash bay. Well, guess what, bro? I do. And you know why? Because I freaking sorted dumpsters out when I was 19 to fit more space in it. And delivered mail. And was a janitor. And a cart pusher at Walmart. So suck it. Done. Rinse. And let's get in the air conditioning. And we'll give it a good quality rinsing. I normally like to do this the night before because now we're gonna have water seeping out of cracks and stuff when we're polishing, but not the end of the world. To be honest with you, I really didn't want to work the camera and, you know, have to do the decon and become really pompous and arrogant, right? You've changed. You know, it's really freaking hard to manage the camera, the audio, the focus, the position, while being soaking wet and sweating. We're done. My job here is done. I'm the car washing guy. I'm not the detailing guy. I'm just squirt out all the windshield crap. Oh, these seats are so tight. Wonder if there's some kind of drain plug or something. I'm sure there is somewhere. You can just pop the plug and drain this out. All right, second rinse. So the reason we're doing that is because we're going to fill this up with Angel Wax Clarity. Now let's try it. I'm going to blow the sucker off and we'll pull it inside and dry it in here. All right. Such a pain in the butt to try to dry when there's nothing on the surface. right, so that's a wrap on the decon process. Remember, we did the engine bay really quickly using D101 diluted, I think 4-to-1 for the engine bay. Then rinsed off, did some hyper dressing, diluted like 3.75-to-1, right around 4-to-1 as well. And so just spray that on. We'll show it to you later in the process what it looks like. It'll need to be just kind of touched up a little bit, but in general you can just spray it on, walk away. Clean the tires just briefly. Again, the wheels are going to come off here in a minute. I'm going to take the wheels off, get them prepped to coat and clean, and we'll take care of the tires and denibbing. But then the decon process is 3 steps. You have chemical and mechanical decon. So first thing we're going to do is want to strip it using some sort of soap to hopefully get the waxes and sealants and dirt and grime off the surface. Then we're going to iron remove it using Iron X. We used Optimum Fair-X, which I have in the store. And then we auto scrubbed with Auto Scrub Fine and Nanoskin Glide. And then rinse the car off. And now I'm going to dry it with a, just a big waffle with drying towel, and then it's a follow towel, which is my bead maker towel. We don't want to put any bead maker or anything like that on. The whole point of this was to strip the surface, get it prepped to polish, and that'll be the next video. So we'll be taping and prepping for polish, and then we'll get moving on the correction phase. So anyway, thanks for watching. Next video, polishing.